1 billion people worldwide are living with low vitamin D. 1 billion. And most of them have no idea. This single deficiency quietly affects your bones, your brain, your immune system, and your energy, often for years before anyone catches it. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin. It behaves more like a hormone. Almost every tissue in your body has receptors for it. Your muscles, your brain, your immune cells, your heart. Your body produces vitamin D when sunlight hits your skin. You can also get small amounts from food, fatty fish, egg yolks, fortified milk. Deficiency is defined as blood levels below 20 nanograms per milliliter. Insufficiency falls between 20 and 29. The problem is, the symptoms don't announce themselves loudly. They build slowly. They overlap with other conditions. That's what makes this deficiency so easy to miss and so important to understand. The first symptom is fatigue, not the tired you feel after a long day. This is a deep, unshakable exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. Studies have found a direct link between low vitamin D and fatigue, even in otherwise healthy adults. Researchers at the University of Newcastle found that vitamin D plays a critical role in mitochondrial function, the energy-producing machinery inside your cells. When D is low, mitochondria operate inefficiently. Less energy is produced. Every cell in your body runs slower. You wake up tired, you stay tired. And because fatigue is so common, most people blame stress or poor sleep and never think to check their vitamin D. The second symptom is pain, specifically in the bones and muscles. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption in the gut. Without enough D, your body cannot pull calcium from food effectively. When blood calcium drops, your body compensates by pulling calcium directly from your bones. Over time, this weakens bone density. You may feel a dull, deep ache in your lower back, hips, legs, or ribs. It's often mistaken for arthritis or general aging. Muscle weakness follows the same mechanism. Vitamin D receptors in muscle tissue regulate strength and coordination. When those receptors aren't activated, muscles lose efficiency. Simple tasks, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, start to feel harder than they should. The third symptom is getting sick more often than normal. Vitamin D is a direct regulator of the immune system. It activates T cells, the soldiers your immune system deploys against bacteria and viruses. It also stimulates production of antimicrobial proteins that act as your body's first line of defense. Research published in the BMJ showed that people with low vitamin D had significantly higher rates of respiratory infections, including colds, flu, and pneumonia. When D is deficient, your immune response slows. Pathogens get more time to replicate before your body mounts a proper defense. If you find yourself catching every cold that passes through your office or your home, your vitamin D level is worth investigating. The fourth symptom is mood-related, specifically depression and persistent low mood. This one surprises people, but vitamin D receptors are found throughout the brain, including in areas that regulate emotion and motivation, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. Vitamin D influences the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter closely tied to mood stability. When D levels drop, serotonin synthesis can decrease with it. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Psychiatry found a significant association between low vitamin D and clinical depression. Seasonal affective disorder, the depression that worsens in winter months, is strongly correlated with reduced sun exposure and falling vitamin D levels. The biology follows the calendar. The fifth symptom is slower healing. Cuts, infections, and post-surgical recovery that take longer than expected. Vitamin D plays a direct role in the production of compounds that form new skin and control inflammation at wound sites. It regulates genes involved in the healing process, particularly the production of cathelicidin, an antimicrobial peptide that protects open wounds from infection while new tissue forms. Research in the journal Nutrients found that patients with low vitamin D levels experienced significantly slower wound closure. After surgery, their recovery was prolonged and their infection risk was higher. This symptom is easy to overlook unless you're paying attention. But if wounds that should heal in days are taking weeks, the underlying biology may trace back to vitamin D. All 5 of these symptoms share a common root. Vitamin D works by binding to receptors inside cells, called vitamin D receptors, or VDRs. When activated, these receptors act like switches. They turn on genes responsible for calcium metabolism, immune function, serotonin production, muscle repair, and cellular energy. Without enough D, those switches stay off. Calcium doesn't absorb properly. Bones and muscles suffer. Immune cells don't activate fully. You get sick more easily. Serotonin synthesis slows. Mood drops. Mitochondria underperform. You feel exhausted. Wound healing genes aren't expressed. Recovery stalls. It's one deficiency. But because vitamin D receptors exist in nearly every tissue in the body, the consequences spread everywhere. That's why the symptom list looks so scattered. It's not scattered. It all comes from the same missing signal. Vitamin D deficiency doesn't discriminate, but certain groups face significantly higher risk. People with limited sun exposure are most vulnerable. That includes office workers, people in northern latitudes, and those who cover most of their skin for cultural or medical reasons. Older adults are at risk because aging skin produces vitamin D less efficiently. People with darker skin tones have more melanin, which reduces the skin's ability to synthesize D from sunlight, requiring longer exposure to produce the same amount. Individuals with obesity, certain digestive conditions like Crohn's disease, and those who have undergone gastric bypass surgery also have reduced ability to absorb or convert vitamin D. The WHO and NIH both recognize these populations as priority groups for monitoring and potential supplementation. Vitamin D deficiency is one of the most common nutritional shortfalls in the world, and one of the most quietly damaging. The 5 symptoms covered here, persistent fatigue, bone and muscle pain, frequent illness, low mood, and slow wound healing, are all connected to one underlying problem: a deficiency in a molecule your body needs to keep dozens of critical systems running. These symptoms don't always appear together. They often develop slowly. They overlap with other conditions. That's what makes awareness so important. If any of these symptoms sound familiar, the appropriate next step is a blood test. A simple 25-hydroxy vitamin D test can confirm your levels. This video is not medical advice. It's an explanation of the biology. What you do with that information starts with a conversation with your doctor.